Alright, sorry for the long delay. I am just getting some final settings fixed, and then we should get going. Yes, glad to see everybody. Let's get started in just a few seconds. Alright, y'all ready? Here we go. Welcome back, everybody. Dirk the Red Panda, here with Tennis Ace. Yeah, we are back with the Tennis Ace kick once again. And once again, we are doing another June update. In July, technically, but you know what I mean. So, yeah, we are going back to June's route, since June's route got updated first, and then I don't know what 57's gonna be. I have to double check, but 56 got released publicly, which is what I have here, and then 57 got released to patrons, so no spoilers if you're a patron. Anyway, I'm going to drag my PNG tuber down here and, yeah, get things a little more clean and organized. Exit studio mode. Here we go, the continue menu. So, it's been a while since we've done our last update. These saves here, I just kind of was doing in my free time to check out the new CGs and just kind of save them in my gallery, just so I could 100% this game. But we are going to the June page here, and sadly, we did not have a June update in June. Isn't that tragic? We played his update last in May, and I thought it was day 33, but I'll have to change my description. I was inaccurate, and I have made a false statement. Very tragic indeed. And I have to double check which one's the correct update. Oh boy, they are the same looking. This is gonna be a bit of a stressor. So yeah, haven't been on YouTube in a while. I've been streaming more so on Twitch because I'm trying to get into a more casual setting with streaming, and yeah, that's just kind of how my life's been. Just kind of casually streaming that. Want to have something less stressful on my plate in terms of what I do for my topics. And I might transition my future stuff to Twitch just in general. Like, I'm debating. It's just, as nice as it's been here on YouTube, I just feel like it's not a really streamer-centric type of platform, and I also kind of want to personally just branch out into my own endeavors with things, and yeah, doing visual novels is kind of, I don't know, I'm not sure if I see myself be a visual novel player where I'm doing it like this, where I'm one-manning it and just reading it all. But yeah, it's all good. We're gonna check between these two which one is the real one and which one's the fake. And I'll also have to go back because I forgot to timestamp when I just started, but we could start the actual reading at like 8 minutes or whatever. I'll just pull a random BS time down. So I'm gonna test this out first. This isn't gonna be me officially beginning the reading yet. I just want to see which one is, like, did it end at this time? Which is the right one, the dark one or the light one? We'll see. Am I gonna break the system? No, I did not. Okay, that is the other one. So this is the one where we ended at. I just wanted to make sure we're in linear order. Okay. Uh-oh. Don't rewind. Pro tip. Otherwise, you have to quit the game and restart everything. Nah, kid, but yeah, good note to myself. Sometimes tennis is kind of funky where you like try and roll back or whatever, and you just have to restart the whole thing. So, you know, kind of weird, but nonetheless, let's try this again. We know it's the right one now, and we will start in 30-ish seconds. Waiting for the live ticker to get to that point. Maybe I should just record this as like a backup in case I have not started my backup recording. So there we go. It's always good to have a backup. Welcome back to the backup recording, folks, if this is all you see. But yeah, we're gonna get started in a few seconds. Here we go. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's get ourselves a new update. Here we go. I guess I just might. Get into day 33. Hey, July the 6th. Thursday. Time for some excitement in the bathtub. Where's my blushy button? Bathtub. Oh. That's what F1 does in this game. Anytime I go back to neutral, that is what will happen. Yep. Okay. Some games do that, some don't. Sorry if I have to go back to my normal face and pop up that screen. Well, let's continue anyway. I leaned back in the bathtub, enjoying the soothing sensation of water all around me. For the last few days, I've managed to convince Aki to give me some more privacy and peace of mind. Among those small victories, I counted the right to bathe by myself. Heck yeah! As much as Aki seemed to be having fun, and I do have to admit that at some level it was fun to be able to chat and goof off, I valued my independence much higher than that. Especially because, due to the warm water helping my stiff muscles and joints to relax, it was an especially good time to stretch and rub my knee. The water offered little resistance and allowed me to do so with a lot less pain and risk than I would otherwise have doing it in the open air. But then again, less doesn't mean nothing, and considering how every single pop and groan on my part would cause Aki to flinch or dart back up on his feet as if he had to come help me or something, I could hardly relax in that kind of situation. No, it still hurt sometimes. It wasn't fun to feel that pain. It was even less fun to realize just how right the doctors were when they told me about how I would have a limited range of motion. Honestly, even getting my knee to straighten up seemed completely beyond my capabilities right now. Which isn't to say I haven't been getting better, of course. Every single day, I could feel it, little by little, feeling almost glacial at times. But there was actual progress being made. Progress which, of course, did nothing to address the real problem with my current situation. Second place. It's petty. I'm fully aware of how petty it is. But even though I was all smiles and asking them to tell me about the Kanto region competition in every possible detail, hell, even though I insisted that I was fine and that they didn't need to be so coy around me, the truth is, I couldn't ignore was that I wasn't. I wasn't fine with it. The thought keeps spinning around inside my head like a merry-go-round that would never stop. And the more I tried to push those thoughts inside the small box I created for them in my mind, the more they seemed to fight back. I thought I was fine last night. Talking to June was a good distraction. It really did lift my spirits, but my unconscious mind was an entirely different story. It had a habit of bringing to surface thoughts best kept hidden. Thoughts I thought I managed to push away into the deepest recesses of my mind. Thoughts I thought would never return. I dreamt of Takagi-kun last night. I don't even know why. Thinking of the tournament brought the thought to my mind over and over. Like I was mourning something that had never even come to pass. The thought of him seemed to show up even more and more often recently. Maybe it was because I had June now and I felt happy about it. But in doing so, I finally realized that part of me I'd been in denial about this whole time, pretending like I didn't so. Doing such a good job of it that I convinced even myself about it. Yeah, maybe it's because of that the thought of Takagi-kun seemed to linger especially often now. Thoughts of what might have happened if I knew better back then. It's not like I want to go back. If anything, I think I like June even more than I used to like Takagi-kun. I know our relationship has only just started, but I've been thinking about my feelings for him for so long that I didn't realize they got into such a tight grip on me over time. Ugh, trying to think of all this is just feeding the merry-go-round. Wait, can you even feed a merry-go-round? Is that a bad metaphor? Nah, who cares? It's not like I'm telling anybody that I went back to the regular menu. Sorry, I'm gonna fix that. Trying to think of which button I could use. I am going to quickly do a hotkey. Temporary hotkey. Okay. Like it never even happened. Ah, who cares? It's not like I'm telling anyone about it anyway. There's no one to judge me inside my own head. Alone while these thoughts festered inside my mind, I traced the outline of the scar that formed on my shoulder. As the fur began to grow around it, it grew fainter and fainter. Soon the last reminder of the accident would go away, even if the consequences of it never did. I can't decide whether that thought is comforting or haunting right now. Why do I have to get lost in thoughts like these every time I'm alone in the first place? I hate being surrounded by people right now. It feels suffocating. Trying to keep a pleasant smile and an upbeat attitude makes me feel like I'm some kind of show monkey, made to dance to keep them all entertained. God, if that did not speak truth to me right now, I don't know what did. But the alternative to that would be worse. Way, way worse. I'd rather pretend than having them fretting incessantly over me all the time. If anything, I think that would be the absolute worst part about it. So I guess I'll take the pretending, even if it sucks. Trying to chase those thoughts away from my mind, I grabbed the hose and pointed it at my own head, making sure to close my eyes before unleashing it at full blast. I don't know if that does much, but it's at least comforting in its own strange way. And right now, I'll take whatever comfort I can get. I close my eyes, leaning further back and letting myself slowly slide down, until just the tip of my snout is out of the water. At the very least, it's relaxing to be like this. Maybe I should let my head sink fully under the water. Hold my breath for a minute or so. If anything, I'm sure that would wake me up proper. And at the very least, gasping for air would give me something else to think about right now. Maybe that would be its own form of comfort too. Who knows? I just hate this constant up and down. Every time I think I'm doing fine, something happens to knock me back down to the ground. It's like the world is punishing me for having the gall to think I'm allowed to breathe out. I guess I have been holding my breath for a while now. In a way. Ugh, no. I don't like myself when I'm alone. These thoughts are not me. I don't want to think about this kind of crap. These thoughts will not be me. I am giving the world the satisfaction of knocking me down that low. No freaking way. Having spent quite enough time lazing around in the hot tub, I carefully get up on my feet, reaching for the support of the crutches off to the side so I can start drying myself and getting out of here. As much as I hate putting on an act, I want to be left alone with these intrusive thoughts even less. Hi, Mom. Hi, brother. Upon finally heading downstairs after getting my fur properly dried and then getting dressed, I was greeted to the sight of Mom and Aki, silently watching TV together in the living room. While he allows me to bathe on my own now, Aki still insists on going first so he can leave everything ready for me. And he's the stubborn type so that no amount of insistence will see him change his mind once he's decided on something. Which is why decisive action is required to talk him out of it before he sets his mind on something. Ah, Ni-chan. No, Aki, stay. But... Aki had tried to get up from his seat and help me down the stairs as soon as he heard the sound of my crutches hitting the wooden floor. However, I quickly shut him down before he had the chance to. What do we talk about? Sweetie, I understand your concern, but your brother's peace of mind is important to his recovery as well. Do not try to aggravate him. Okay. There we go. Aki, now looking slightly more downcast than he was a minute ago, sits back down on the chair, earning me a small victory in the long, arduous battle for my independence. Like I said, decisive action. I appreciate the help, but I'm not completely useless, you know. I've been going up and down the stairs just fine without help. I even did so at school yesterday. If you say so. Of course, I leave out the part about my whole body being sore after, especially under my arms where the crutches applied the most pressure. and also the part about me nearly regretting my decision. If he heard that, he might just never leave me out of his sight again. And by God, that would be humiliating. But the same goes to you, Nico-kun. Your brother is just trying to help. Do try to be more understanding. All of my understanding is already being used at the moment. Don't get me wrong, I appreciate how much Aki seems to care, but I'm not an invalid. I sneak a glance at the clock, checking how long we still have before needing to leave for school. Thankfully, there's still enough time to sit down and take a breather for a minute. Lord knows I need it every time I go up or down the stairs. I did some more stretching in the bath this morning. I can move my knee a little bit, more than I did yesterday, so that's nice. That's great, sweetie. Do remember, we have to take you back to the hospital next week for a quick checkup on your progress. I'm sure the doctors will be pleased to hear as well. Ugh, don't remind me. I'd be just as well never having to set foot in that place again. Agreed. Now, you two will not turn into hospital haters. Not under my watch. I know they can be scary sometimes, but you can't avoid seeing a doctor just because you're uncomfortable. Your health is more important than that. We know that. Ugh, jeez, Mom. Still, it bears repeating. Now, does it really need repeating now? I suppose the timing might not have been the best. There we go. Still, your knee is getting better, huh? That's pretty cool. How much were you able to move it? It still stings a little if I try to get it perfectly straight. Right now, I can manage about getting halfway there. 3/4 of the way? That's hard to say. The warm water certainly helps. Not that it doesn't still sting a little. The worst one is the feeling of something catching and tugging. Kinda like suddenly being caught and reeled in by a fish hook, I would imagine. It's really unpleasant, but thankfully, it doesn't happen all that often anymore. Who knows? Maybe I'll be able to get rid of these a lot sooner than we imagined. I gesture to the crutches, trying to keep the annoyance from showing in my voice. Don't get me wrong, they've been my pals since the accident, and I'm so glad I have them. But I will be even gladder when I don't. Let's not get ahead of ourselves, sweetie. We'll focus on your recovery first. Whether or not you can stop using the crutches sooner than expected will be for the doctor to decide. I know that. I'm just trying to look forward to something. Sheesh. Tough crowd. Nii-chan, we should probably get going. The cab will be here any minute. I guess. I know you don't like it, but please bear with it until you're better, honey. We don't want you to rush your recovery and end up hurting you even worse. Yeah, I know that. I've gotten at least 10 different versions of that speech from what seems to be everyone in my life lately. Getting up from the sofa, we quickly collect our bags, watching the car pull up from outside from the window just as we begin to do so. I guess there is an upside to hiring a service to drop by on a scheduled hour, huh? I left your lunches on the counter. Don't forget to bring them with you. Oh, was that meant for Mom to say? He's like, oh, I left the lunches on the counter. Thanks, Mom. Turns to her. I can speak to myself. Anyway, thanks, Mom. Yeah, thanks. It's pretty nice to have your cooking on the regular again. It's nice to get to do it again as well. I'm definitely savoring this while it lasts. I know Mom won't be able to stay home all that long. Hell, she's already been talking. Hell, she's already been taken to her room so she can work more often as of late. It's only a matter of time at this point. Let me kick the door open with my broken leg! Never mind. As if repeating what has sadly already become a routine, Shoichi and Saya are both waiting for me by the gates when the car pulls up. Even if I insist I don't need help, but insist doubly so on sticking around. By the time we get to my classroom, I have to almost push them off to avoid them heading inside with me. I've only been back at school for a few days, yet all this tending and babying is already making my head spin. Thank God. I shut the door off behind me, leaning back against it and breathing out. When did even playing pretend start to feel like I'm holidaying my breath? When did even playing pretend start to feel like I'm holding my breath? When I close my eyes and look around, I notice the familiar faces of a few of my classmates. At least the ones that care enough to show up already early. Granted, class starts in 20 minutes, so maybe we're not that early after all. But, most importantly... Good morning. I see you're starting at me. You know. And I saw you coming inside. And you didn't say anything right away? You waited for me to notice you? Well, you looked like you needed a minute. Did I now? Uh-huh. Sheesh. Am I that obvious? Am I? Yeah, don't feel bad. It's your shoulders. You carry a lot of tension in them. Around them, at least. Yeah. I have no idea what that means. Well, what I meant to say was on your shoulders, but then I said in your shoulders, so... I mean... Just sit down. Aye, aye, sir. I diligently do so as I'm told, not wanting to upset my new tiger overlord in any way. He is threatening indeed. At least, not this early in our relationship. So, you weren't going to ask if I need help or anything? Did you need help? No. Then there was no reason for me to ask, was there? Oh, wow. That easy? Well, you look like you have a lot on your mind. I can tell that you're not in the best mood, but I'm not going to prod. You'd tell me if you needed to vent, right? Among Us. Dirk is sus. This is gonna be so dated. Right. And you don't need me to help you to your seat or anything, do you? No. Then there's no reason to even bring the subject up. In fact, the only reason we're talking about it is because you mentioned it. I was happy to let bygones be bygones. Man, You sure noticed and considered a lot of things in a very short amount of time. Uh-huh. Oh, no further comment on it, huh? I was kind of expecting some kind of explanation, but it looks like I'm not getting any. Oh no. He's in the chat. I'm not going to specify who. Alright then. I'll take the silence as a clue and leave it at that. I totally misread. Yeah, that was part of the joke. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna pretend June actually said that in canon and that he's trying to correct himself. Oof. Shoulders. I do have tension on my shoulders. I need to stretch them more. Alright then, I'll take the silence as a clue and leave it at that. By the way, you arrived a lot sooner than usual, huh? You usually barely beat the clock here, if even that.
I'm not always late. I'll have you know I can show up to school early too.
Really? I mean, can you? Sorry, instinct.
Sometimes.
What's the occasion?
No occasion. I just know when you usually get here and I kinda wanted to have the company. Besides, it's better to be here and chatting with you than stay at home arguing with my dad for the 8th time this week to try and get him to put on clothes.
Is it sad to say that is a relatable thing for a lot of us? Fellow dads who don't put their clothes on anonymous? It can't be that bad.
Yes, it can. It can be exactly that bad.
Really? What makes it so bad?
Okay. Imagine you're trying to eat when your dad is walking around naked.
Mm-hmm.
Get your mind out of the gutter, Yuichi! I mean, Nico, whoever you are in this world! And your breakfast for the day is sausage and eggs.
June's dad. Oh shoot, wrong button. I forgot I changed that. Get out of the way. I said get out of the way. There we go. Okay. Yep, okay, that'll do it. Case closed. We don't need to talk about this anymore.
Ah, knew it.
That's... That's a yikes for me, dog. Or tiger. I'm the dog here. Look at me. I am the dog now.
Very funny, Nico.
Remind me to never drop by your place unannounced.
Uh-huh.
How long have you been here anyway?
Not that long. 10 minutes or so. I'm not that much of an early riser. Not anymore, at least.
But you used to be?
Back when I still played soccer, yeah. But then, it happened. Oh, sorry, but then again, I used to be way more active in general back then.
My parents talking to me about what I'm doing lately. You used to be so much more active back in the day. Well, I found out that I was too obsessed with a sport and got completely in my head about it, so then I changed tracks when COVID hit. Anyway. I'm sorry to hear. Do you miss it?
Nah, not that much.
Oh, come on. You're going to start lying to me now?
Wow, you could tell?
That you're trying not to burn me out? Or trying to burn... I don't know why I looked at that M and saw it as an R and an N. Brain, turn on. That you're trying not to bum me out? Yes. What was it you said? Something, it's your shoulders and maybe your face a little bit? You got kind of scrunchy.
I'm not used to people being able to call me out on it.
What can I say? I'm sharp. You can put the wool over my eye, or you can't put the wool over my eyes that easy. I'm on to you.
Carp!
Carp? What the hell is carp?
Forget you heard anything.
No way. How could I?
I said forget it!
Oh man, he's becoming adorkable again. What am I supposed to do now? He's too cute when he gets all worked up like that. I need to pet him on the head. My God, his tail is lashing at everything. No. Keep it inside, Nico. God damn it, I keep hitting the wrong button. I'm so used to that. No. Keep it inside, Nico. Don't you dare laugh. You'd only annoy him more if you laugh. Okay. Forget I asked. Now, how about we get back to that question I asked you earlier? About whether or not you miss soccer?
Ugh. You're not letting it go, huh?
Quite astute of you.
Fine, I'll talk.
And we got there eventually. Before Dirk ends up buying an Elgato Stream Deck just so he can have buttons to change the facial expression on his PNG tuber. Man, I don't even know if the Elgato thing or whatever can do that, because I think there's a thing you have to set up with it. I did research on it, though. I really need that. That or a MIDI pad. I heard you could do it with a MIDI pad, too. Anyway, we got there eventually. Oh yes, and we did acknowledge the carp. And Tennis Ace 2, Electric Boogaloo, where everybody's all growing up, Rugrats style. Uh-oh. You just assign hotkeys to it. I mean, I could try and do that. What's the fun in that? I'll actually try and learn that. But when I get a job... Yeah. I've been on some good progress with that, but yeah, work's been kind of one of those things where I'm like still unemployed for 4 months now, almost 4. It's been a while, but there's one that might potentially be a good one for me, or a potential opener. Anyway, we got there eventually to the next line of this game.
I guess I miss it every now and again. I think I miss the team aspect more than anything. It was nice to be part of a group.
Yeah, that is one thing June, you hit it on the head. I also miss that about the volleyball scene. Having a team, having a group to be like doing stuff with, tournaments to go to, having a fun time, feeling like I actually was a part of something. Anyway, I hit the wrong button 5 times in a row. Woo!
But I was a completely different kid back then. I doubt any of the kids I knew back then would even recognize me now.
We're all pretty different than we were as kids. That's called growing up. And congrats to Yate01 for getting a new job recently. Good luck, my pal.
Really? Because I somehow have a feeling that Mizuguchi-san isn't all that different.
Okay, you have a point there. But Saya is the exception, not the rule. Hell, she's the exception in most things.
I don't think she'd be too happy with you if she heard you saying that.
Then don't tell her. This is a threat. You got it, June?
I guess my silence could be bought.
Oh, you guess?
For a price.
Really? You're charging me now?
Hey, they do say that if you're good at something, you should never do it for free.
And you're good at being silent.
I can learn.
Doesn't exactly inspire confidence. What am I even paying you for again?
My sunny disposition.
Yeah, I think I'm taking my business elsewhere.
Boo!
The look of total and complete annoyance on June's face makes me laugh for some reason. I try to cover my mouth when I feel it coming so as to avoid annoying him even more. But before I can react, I bellow out loudly. As soon as I catch myself doing it, I have that oh crap moment in my head, thinking that I've just managed to make a ticking time bomb tick even faster. But instead...
Oh, that's more or less what I like to see.
Huh?
What? Couldn't tell that I was trying to make you laugh from the beginning? Not so sharp now, huh?
Well, but that's...
What is it? Cat got your tongue?
Illegal! I declare this illegal!
Huh. Nope. Pretty sure I'm in the clear.
You think you're so smart, don't you?
Who, me? Oh, not at all.
Good, because right now I can't decide whether you're adorable or just an idiot.
Oof. A lot of things can be true at the same time.
What? No reaction from that? Even though the voice actor reacted in a wrong manner? For shame. I thought for sure I'd be able to get him all, you know, spinny-outy and flustered if I call them that. Huh. Subscriber. That joke will never get old.
What?
That's just not at all how I thought you'd take it. I thought you'd get flustered and everything if I called you, you know, that?
Nah. I'm happy you think so.
Wow. Who are you again? 'Cause you keep surprising me for the Who are you again? 'Cause you keep surprising me for these past few weeks.
Come on. Don't look at me like that. Is it that weird that I'm taking the compliment?
Period. Yes. You are weird because you took the compliment with a period instead of a question mark. Get your verbal stuff together, June!
Hey!
There we go. Now that's more June-like. Ah, dang it, he's so adorable! Why do you do this to us? All is right with the world now.
I don't know why, but I have a sudden urge to pinch you.
You wouldn't hurt a crippled kid, would you?
You're not Ugh. Why do I bother?
Because you oh so interested in making me laugh?
You're nowhere near as funny as you think you are, you know?
I can live with that. Me reacting to people talking about my channel. I can live with that. The tiger groans, grabbing an eraser from his things and throwing it at me. Ow! And by throw, I mean uselessly tossing it in my general direction, which might have been enough to hurt me if I were an ant. Or a very slow fly. I actually got hit by a real-life ruler. Wow. My wounds that will never heal.
Shut up.
June and I both share a laugh. I don't know why, but even the silliest things seem so funny to me when he's the one doing it. Maybe I really have fallen for him harder than I realized. Maybe that's what this is. Though, if that's the case, I do have to wonder what all that agony and indecision was for. Feels like a waste now. Once we both stop laughing, we end up staring at each other in silence. I want to fill that silence somehow, but I can't think of the words to say. Granted, my mind has basically been turned into mush over the past few days. If anything, I'm surprised I'm coherent at all. Same.
So... found that ruler.
June ends up being the one breaking the silence, shifting on his chair, straightening himself up and clearing his throat while talking. I don't know why, but the gesture seems oddly amusing to me.
I guess I should have led with it, but... how are you doing?
Huh? What are you talking about? You did ask me that. Like I said, I'm fine right now. I'm kinda hungry though. Wish I had a little bit more for breakfast.
No, I don't mean that. I mean... hairball. No. I don't mean that. I mean... how's your leg?
Oh. I thought you said you weren't going to ask if I needed help.
Asking how you're doing isn't offering help. It's caring and checking up on you. And sharing is caring. Relentlessly badgering you for an answer would be a problem, though.
Are there badgers in this world?
I'm only asking because I worry. Whatever your answer is, I'll believe you and leave it at that.
Wish more people could be like that. June laughs dryly. However, his laugh sounds oddly hollow.
Trust me, I know what that's like. I wouldn't want to make you deal with that, too.
Oh. Right. I guess you wouldn't know, huh?
I'm not saying our situations are the same, but... yeah. Besides, the tension is kind of palpable. The minute I walked into the room, I noticed how every seemed tense and kept sneaking glances at you. Even I felt awkward and I just walked in.
What? They have?
Huh? Yeah, they have. You didn't notice?
Honestly, yeah, looking around to try and figure out what my classmates were doing was the last thing on my mind when I got here. Actually, no. Scratch that. Saying it was the last thing on my mind makes it sound like it was on my mind at some point. Not really. Are they still looking?
Yep, like they want to say something, but don't know how to approach.
You're very perceptive, aren't you? Speaking of perceptive, my chat's not perceptive. Not the chat, I mean the chat box itself on my screen. There's a big wall of text here. It's not updating on my side chat here. But on the OBS it is showing it. And sharing is caring. Thank you very much, Basket. So you can have sex with Shuichi Sonic. No, it left. It was there for so long. It just got absolutely disappeared. I just pulled a Spider-Man. I am not very perceptive. No, Basket. Why did you say that? I will have to go back and read it. Someday you'll keep it up. Anyway.
I have pretty good peripheral vision. And hearing. Both of those things really help. Plus, when you're spending years trying to convince people that you're okay, and trying to get their attention off yourself, you learn to get really good at observing and redirecting.
Yeah. Kinda get the feeling I've been on that receiving end of that a helpful handful of times.
Sorry.
Aha! So I was right. I guess that does explain those times when June would randomly change the subject. Or say something that felt completely out of character. Dear Lord, I know he said he'd been putting up a little act, but I didn't realize that he was that good at it. Me trying to look at the thing Basket said, but turns into full screen. I've caught it! Yes. So you can have sex with Shoichi and Keisuke-san, and hell, maybe even Tanabe-san and Ariki-san too. I'll share. I have no problem with it. Gosh dang it, you're making me act up on Maine. Anyway, dear Lord, I know he said he'd been putting up a little act, but I didn't realize he was that good at it. I don't know how to feel about this, or what I just read.
How about we just get back to the original topic? You're kind of pulling that face right now, and I don't like it.
My knee has been getting better, I guess.
It's
still a huge pain. It hurts if I move too suddenly or put too much effort on it. Kind of feels like, I don't know, a fishing hook is tugging at something inside of it. It's really painful and really unpleasant.
That does sound unpleasant.
Other than that, I've just been following the doctor's recommendations. Some light stretching, especially during the bath. The hot water helps soothe the pain and I can stretch it further than I normally would. Can't quite stretch my leg perfectly straight yet, but I'm getting there. And I should start physical therapy soon, so that helps. Other than that, I've been slowly weaning off the painkillers. I'm a bit mixed on that, but it means the pain has been getting a little worse, but I also don't feel as groggy.
They were making you feel groggy?
They were making me feel a lot of things. The first week at the hospital was really rough being on this. I couldn't quite think straight. It felt really peaceful, but also really wrong. At one point, I was pretty convinced I couldn't feel my face.
And you usually can feel your face?
I do not have water on me. I cannot sip to the ellipses. Actually, now that he has mentioned it, that's a good point. I guess I don't really feel my face, do I? That's weird. I guess I don't know how to describe the feeling after all.
That's okay. Medication can make you feel all kinds of weird things.
Is that something you've dealt with too?
I still take meds for my heart, and at one point I was on antidepressants, sedatives, and painkillers. Do you really want to ask me that question?
Sorry. June sighs, slowly shaking his head. I can just barely notice his shoulders slightly slumping along with his tail curling around him and on his lap.
No, sorry, I'm the one who should apologize. I did promise I'd tell you the truth. It's just that I'm still embarrassed by it.
I get it. Plus, I guess you'd be worried talking about this kind of thing in public, right?
Nah, that part I'm fine with. Really good hearing and oversight, remember? I know for a fact that no one is paying close enough attention to overhear us right now.
How does that even work?
Tigers have really sharp senses, and I am a ferocious tiger. Fear me! Rawr!
Damn it, Jude. You can't just say that. You need more pets. Oh my god. Did he just go rawr? XD. Unreal.
Made you laugh, didn't I?
I'm struggling to keep a straight face right now. That much is for sure.
Trying to lighten up the mood a bit when things get too tense isn't all that bad. I have a habit for doing it a lot. So much so that I do it without even thinking about it sometimes. Like, right now. Sorry.
You don't need to apologize. Just don't go rawr in public again. I don't think I'd be able to keep my composure a second time. And I'd rather people not look at me like I'm some kind of lunatic when I start laughing uncontrollably.
I don't know. When you put it like that, it just makes me want to do it even more.
Behave.
Aww.
Distracted as we were by our conversation, we are both caught by surprise once the bell rings. Or maybe I am a tad more surprised than June is. I nearly jumped from my seat, which wouldn't have been great for my leg.
Calm down. It's just the bell.
It took me by surprise.
I'll bet.
With the door opening barely a minute after the official start of class, June and I are both forced to sit facing forward at the arrival of our teacher. Ancient Histories! Good morning, class. I will say, the conversation did wonders for my mood. Though I still don't want to watch class right now. Can I change the channel? I wish we could keep chatting like this. It's strange. I've known June for a while, but I don't remember our conversations ever feeling quite this refreshing before. Is this just from him no longer holding back and showing me more of his true personality? If so, it's kinda nice. The gang's all here! And such a fast transition indeed. I'm gonna take a quick break right now, though. We've been here for an hour, and that is too long. Yes, I'm overwriting the save. Sue me. Alright, so 102.15, okay. Sorry, chat, I'll be right back. I'm gonna get some water so I don't kill my throat. BRB. Give me 3 to 5 minutes. Alright, sorry about the delay. I am back. I just wanted to get my Wawa. And I'm reaching for it right now, because I'm thirsty. 3 sips to that ellipses way back when. Ah, delicious. Alright, y'all ready to continue? Give me a few seconds, timestamp, and we shall be good to go. Alright, let's get continued. Once again, lunchtime arrives. Not at all too soon. I've been so distracted lately that the whole morning class period feels like a blur. It's not even like I'm intent on not paying attention. It's just that before I notice it, I start zoning out. Wondering to myself if anyone is watching me to see how I react. Asking myself whether the reason the teachers aren't calling on me to read or answer questions is because they pity me. Thinking that people are just waiting for me to stumble and prove that I do need help catching up after all. Those thoughts keep creeping up on me every now and again. It's honestly frustrating. I just want to go on with my life and not think about it, but when I least expect it, if I leave my guard down for even a second, they come back right away. even when I think I'm doing good. Nico-kun, are you even paying attention? Sorry, zoned out. Yeah, figured. At least you didn't lie or say you weren't listening. Yeah, I just have a lot on my mind lately. Yeah, I don't blame you. A lot has happened over the past few weeks. Jeez, when you put it like that, it makes me feel like I was insensitive for asking. Nah, you're perfectly fine. Just because I was distracted doesn't mean there's anything wrong. Oh, really? Yeah. I was thinking over some stuff, but nothing really all that important. Or, well, not super urgent at least. Though I did want to ask a question. I just wasn't sure how to go about it. What question is that? Well, the Kanto regionals are over. You both placed pretty well at indiscernible ranks inserted here, all things considered. I wouldn't be surprised if this latest result got Keisuke a seated spot in the next competition. For instance, but are you guys adjusting your training any? Wait a minute. This is regionals. Isn't the next step like nationals? Or is there like a state, province thing? I am confused. What are sports? You want to talk about that? Yeah. We don't have to ask, or we don't have to talk about tennis. We can't.
Guys!
Jun cuts into the conversation. Interruption, Keisuke, and Sai's attempts at deflection right away. Once all eyes are on him, he clears his throat, putting on a smile on his face before continuing.
I just know that I know you think you're being helpful, but please stop doing that. Please let Nico-san decide what he can and can't handle. It's barely even a day since the last time he's asked. It's kind of hard to watch otherwise.
Gasp? Did Jun just interrupt them to back me up? What? God, I could kiss you right now, Jun.
Right. My bad. I guess you really did tell us before and everything.
It's just hard. We don't want to be the insensitive people that drone on and on about something you can't do ever again anymore. That's indelicate. I'd say the only indelicate part so far was the about something you can't do ever again anymore. Feels like that part wasn't necessary. Crap, I mean, I'm so...
Nico-san, you too. Don't tease people when they're trying their best to do what asked.
Teased? Sorry. When I saw my chance to make you squirm a little, I couldn't resist. Nico-san? That's cruel. Guess it's my turn now to say, my bad. You're evil. Yes, but for future reference, I accept Dr. Evil or Mr. Mayhem. You're just not evil. You're delusional. High five, Shoichi. What's the point of being a villain if you don't have a cool name? In a lair. Man, I gotta get myself one of those.
Weren't you asking about tennis?
Yes, there are evil tennis players. Take Djokovic, for example. Being evil by not getting the vaccine. Oh. Right. Thanks for the reminder. So close. Either way, spill.
Come on, don't keep me in suspense. I really want to know.
You guys just went through the second largest competition. The next step is all... Basket says Nationals is next, yes, and then the next line is, the next step is already Nationals. And I'm sure you were able to identify things you thought you needed to work on during your matches. We always do. And unlike them, I'm the guy who just then forgets about them in a second and then just does the same stuff over and over again, or tries to do the thing in a better way, but then stresses so hard about it that he does the bad thing even worse. Good going, me. Well,
I guess?
So, truth be told, when playing against Yuya-kun and Tanabe-san, I did manage to realize a few things I needed to work on. Well, my ball control is quite good, and I don't lose to Tanabe-san in terms of shot variety. He had way more complicated patterns of attack. I had a hard time even setting up my offense since he quickly dismantled it. I'm not surprised. I did say before that you guys' styles are very similar. Tanabe isn't all that physically gifted. Granted, he's probably more so than you are. Ooh! Can we get some Fs in chat for Case playstyle? Not that that is particularly hard in high-level sports. Shoichi adding fire to the flames. Damn! Thanks, man. Tanabe does have more complicated attack patterns, but he also tends to be more decisive. You try to play the long con, like me, which can be good, but it can also be to your own detriment. I've seen you ignore opportunities to score immediately so you can postpone the points. While it can work to overthrow your opponent and throw your opponent off, it can also come back to bite you in the ass. But that's to advance my own playstyle. If I want to throw my opponents off their rhythm, I need to let them get into a rhythm first. Isn't that a given? Of course. Like I said, it's not always a bad idea. But you need to learn to balance those two things better. Not every opponent is going to be as susceptible to that kind of strategy. Yeah, I remember that sometimes I play against people that would be like, let me long con you with like shots and stuff. I'd be like, nope, I'm going to out long con you. And it was fun. And then very tiring. And then I would get leg cramps. Good times. So it would be good for you to learn to be more decisive. Oh no, being decisive? My worst enemy. Besides, Tanabe also has an advantage in that his fundamentals are almost all spect? Oh, spect. Is it spect? Never seen it spelled that way. Besides, Tanabe has an advantage in that his fundamentals are almost all spec together. I can't even read. June is not legendary. He is number 3 best boy. Aww. But he's still really good best boy. Plus 18 perception. Besides, Tanabe also has an advantage in that his fundamentals are all spec'd higher than yours. The only thing I'd say you might be legitimately better than him at is your footwork. He's pretty spry on your feet. Or you're pretty spry on your feet. You should capitalize more on that. Capitalize on it? How? Have you heard of the free market? Well, your shots have a lot of variety, but they lack weight. If you figured out how to add more power behind them without sacrificing too much fine control, that would be one way to force your opponents to ease up. Force more errors. So basically get more grounding. Something that I need to try and do when I play these sports. Grounding is so important in like any of these sports. Having a key footwork That was my biggest issue, especially on the beach, because I would do so many shots because I never could manage to get a heavy weighted footwork. Like, I would just kind of get to the ball and like only be able to get high enough to just shot it or roll it over, not put hard weight behind it. But if you can get to a ball with a good footwork pattern on the sand, it's like, oh, it's night and day. Then you can actually like hit the ball hard and like have a slight split second to be like, okay, I'm gonna hit it hard here or there. Oh man, I miss those days. But I don't know how to get back into it. I think I'm too far out from it. That or I have to move, change my name, make a new career for myself, make a new life. Anyway, you're fast on your feet, and you also react reasonably fast. If you really want to stick to your plans of forsaking opportunities to score in favor of conning your opponent, then you should learn to play a more defensive style, like Saya does. Though you're nowhere near having her monster stamina. Funny you should say that. Oh, Keisuke's whole face scrunches up at my mention of his shots lacking weight. Did I perhaps strike a nerve? Your balls are not heavy, Keisuke. Is everything okay? It's fine. It's just something it's just something else I realized when I was playing against Yuya-kun. Every time I hit a shot that would otherwise be a winner, he somehow managed to make his way back to the ball. Not only that, I wasn't able to push him nearly as much during my serve game as I would have liked. I always thought Yuya had more of a power style like Yuichi. Beats me. Yuya-kun is a special case. His tenacity's taken to the... his tenacity taken to the extreme. If you have any openings whatsoever, he will keep grinding the point out until he finds them. A stronger serve might be able to push him back just far enough to give you the opening you need to score. But it's kind of pointless if you have to sacrifice your control to do it. Well, it's not like I can't hit the ball harder. But you're right. I'd have to sacrifice my control to do it, so I never bothered trying. Try to incorporate stronger shots into your repertoire. Practice increasing the strength of your ground strokes little by little until you can level them up a bit. Even if you have to lose some control to do it, just make sure it's not a considerable amount. Like 3 to 6% loss of control would probably be fine. Keisuke is already plenty accurate enough. That excess accuracy is useless, however, if it can't be used to benefit to score the point. Against lower level opponents, he would probably be fine, but players at high levels tend to be scrappier than most. They're used to everything high level. Just having accurate shots isn't enough to cut it if they're so used to people that hit hard that your shots end up sluggish by comparison. Oh, and this is something else I noticed last time we played, but it wouldn't hurt for you to make your shots more compact. Compact? It's mostly when you're using your backhand, but your swing tends to be far too wide. I get that a wider swing is a good way to import more force into the shot, and a higher chance of it landing in a sense, because if you go for a wide shot, that's like you're going from angle, it's an angle shot basically. But I get that a wider swing is a good way to impart more force into the shot, which can be used as a decent way without affecting your contact point on the ball, but too wide a swing will make you lose time. And that's also true. And it'll also give a little more ability for coverage on the court, because then if you can just cover somebody wide, they don't have to worry about the risky short side and have a little more breathing room to recover your shot, even if it is like tricky. if you're constantly using bigger swings, this is going to be a time lag. You have to get into position sooner since your swing takes longer, which can by itself affect the quality of your contact. A compact swing is better for a more consistent playstyle, especially if you're being defensive. It's true, I tend to keep my swings pretty compact myself. Of course you do. You're a defensive baseliner. Consistency and tenacity are your strong suits. Well, sure, you could probably add way more power to your strokes if you made your swings wider. There's really no point when you can already outgrind anyone else. The important thing here is balance. You don't want your swing so compact that you lack strength, but you don't want your swing so wide that you can't keep it consistent. Are they talking about like the actual swinging motion itself, or are they talking about the angle, like try and go for more line shots versus angle? I haven't heard this type of phrasing. I think this is more of a tennis type of terminology. Volleyball has a little bit more different stuff, but you can kind of see similar strategy and ideals in beach volleyball or 2-on-2 volleyball compared to like a 6-on-6 where it is very like team heavy, where it is more like a basketball type of thing where you're really trying to tag up on each other's like partnerships and whatnot. But sorry, getting back to the 2-on-2 for beach volleyball, it's more like tennis in that, you know, you're trying to outsmart them with angles and like trying to make them out move themselves and just fail. Okay, swinging motion. I'm not that familiar enough with tennis that I have names for my motions or whatnot, but I really would like to try that if I ever got into it more. I only played tennis competitively once for an intramural league, and I sucked. Anyway. Besides, if you perfect a more compact swing, you can take the time you gain to hit balls on the rise to further force your opponent onto the defensive. Or to simples, give yourself extra time to think. Keikun is the type to be thinking 5 moves ahead at all times. He needs as much breathing room as he can get. While you're in the middle of a rally, gasping for air and starving yourself of oxygen, that gets really difficult. I see. So any advantage if I can get can work to my favor, even if it's only a few milliseconds every shot. It'll eventually add up into a huge shift. Yes, this is definitely a momentum of rally, as I like to call it, where in a rally you can be more on the defensive side, like Sai, where you're kind of more of the defensive recovering of things and you're trying to make it so that the opponent's offense is weaker and more prone to errors. Or you could be on the more offensive momentum side of things, where you are the one that is in the higher place of power to hit harder on the ball and whatnot, and have more of that time for it. But it is like an ebb and flow wave. Like, it will eventually corrode as the defense becomes more stronger with the momentum, and that if that momentum from the offensive side isn't strong enough, like, it can hit a threshold where it starts to reverse. But typically, in the most part, if you have a strong enough offense, or especially if you're playing like against maybe a lower level opponent that doesn't know how to counter it well, that momentum will just roll over on them and just really get that defense corroded. And then for people like Sai, where it's a defensive, it's kind of the vice versa, where it's like that strategy is that they're so good at defense and keeping things up that the offensive is just corroding over time, and the accuracy. It's all about just rocking away at that accuracy. So, any advantage I can get to work to my favor, even if it's only a few milliseconds every shot, it'll eventually add up into a huge shift. Yeah, now you're getting it. Of course, that's not to say you should only ever hit compact. A wider swing can be good when you're already ahead and want to press your lead, or when you want some extra oomph to put away a winner shot. But your style is very different from mine. And I could tell when I played against you that you kept trying to mimic my technique. Honestly, it kind of does remind me of when I played my arch rival community college. Like, we were two completely different sides of like the coin with offense and defense. My college was way more of a defense, shagging, scrappy type of team, and we're very defensive heavy with things. But then the teams we would play again, but then the rival actually was very offensive heavy. They had a lot of really tall and just very, very good, like, big hitters that would just really put balls away hard and fast. And unfortunately, they got the best of us both times, but we did take it to 5 one time, and they went on to win a championship. We got screwed over with playoffs. So that sucked. Huh. I could tell when I played against you that you kept trying to mimic my technique. You noticed that? Of course I did. I'm not blind. Sai and KSK both stare at me like they just saw a ghost or something. Like they can't quite believe what they're hearing. I don't know why, but I'm starting to feel a little creeped out by it. Why are you guys staring at me all quiet like that? It's kinda creepy. Nico? Since when did you pay that much attention to Keisuke? Huh? Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. What's that supposed to mean? You always seemed quite uninterested in other players during practice. You'd zone out into your own routine and it was like the whole world disappeared. So I guess we're all surprised that you paid that much attention to me to notice all that. What the hell is that supposed to mean? You're making it sound like some kind of self-absorbed douchebag. Of course not. That's not true. At least not the douchebag part. Yeah. What the hell? I'm not self-absorbed. No offense, but I asked you tons of times to help me out with giving advice to the other players, and you always dismissed me, saying that it wasn't your job, that you didn't care. Because it wasn't my job. You went so far as to say you didn't care? Maybe you were a little bit of a douchebag. I dare you to repeat that. Come on, you can't basically tell someone don't know, don't care, and expect not to be called an ass. We have a coach! One that Saya spent almost 3 years constantly defending and saying was competent every time I complained about him. It's his job to help players out. Thank you very much. Still, there's such a thing as tactful delivery, man. Bite me. Okay. You're not self-absorbed or a douchebag. Happy now? No. Well, then I don't know what else to tell you. You're just agreeing with me to appease me. How is that supposed to make me happy? I could tell that you're lying. It's all in your eyes. They tell lies. Lies, I tell you! I paid attention to everyone around me, not just Keisuke. Of course, I kept a closer eye on the more noteworthy players of the club, but I know stuff. I know a lot about you too, Saya-chan. Huh, you do? What did I just say? Ugh, stop acting so surprised. I was in that club room every single day. Of course I noticed things. It'd be weird if I hadn't. I'm insulted. Yeah, I did. For instance, Saya-chan takes a while to get her engine running during matches. Not to mention the fact that she tends to size her opponents up during the first 4 or 5 games. So it's not uncommon for her to lose way more games in the first set than the rest. Or how she has a habit of dropping her shoulder whenever she's about to hit a cross shot. which a more analytical opponent could probably take advantage of to anticipate her shots. Or the way that she delays her forehand swing for a second or so when she's about to hit a shallower shot. All of those are tells that could be used against her and are things that she should probably avoid. What? Oh, that's the first I ever heard of it. Other than that, your fundamentals are quite good. They're way above junior level, at the very least. Your stamina is out of this world. But we know that already. Mostly because your ability to conserve your air is ridiculous. You don't run out of breath as often, and each breath seems to last you twice as long as it does most people. Your power and control are a step above most junior players, if not even most players in the futures and challenger levels. Really, you're kind of a wild beast when it comes to all of that stuff. I've literally never heard you say all that much about my playstyle. I thought you didn't pay attention to me whatsoever. I have no reason to study you quite as in-depth as I do other male players like Keikun, that much is true. But we've been in the same club since we were kids. Of course I'd be bound to notice a thing or two about you. But then again, I only ever see you playing against other girls, so I wouldn't be able to extrapolate or figure out how you do in comparison with guys. But that would be easy enough to test if you play against Keikun. If you know that much about us, then why did you never say so? Because I'm not a coach. It's not my job to offer guidance. If I were to do so, I'd just be doing the guy's job for him. And, well, until I started listing off all those things I know about you two, I hadn't realized that I knew so much. But you have zero in on exactly what it is that we need to work on that easily? I mean, I didn't think there was anything I needed to fix. But after you mentioned that about me, I had a moment where I went, oh wait, this was happening during the last competition. It was? Yeah, I had an opponent who kept anticipating a lot of my shots, and I couldn't figure out why. All I could tell was that I had this icky feeling I was being watched extra hard or something. Well, you're not the most subtle person in the world. The thing is, for most of your opponents, the difference in skill had been so great that even if they noticed your tells, they wouldn't be in a position to do anything about it. It'd be like, well, like comparing me and Aki. He knows more about my playstyle than anyone else, but if you asked him to deploy countermeasures against me in a match, there wouldn't be much he could do about it. All the knowledge in the world will do you no good if you're not in a position to use it. Interesting. I suppose that it is a good point. In that case, maybe we could just talk about something else, yeah? Something that all of us could be a part of? Just an idea. Oh, I completely forgot you were here, Shuichi. Yeah, I noticed. My spirit was about ready to leave my body.
I barely understand anything that was said in the last few minutes.
Sorry, we got surprised by Nico-kun, that's all. Sorry, I got too engrossed in the conversation myself. You're fine, just... For the love of all that is sacred, can we talk about something else? I don't want to spend the entirety of lunch break listening to you three droning on and on while I stay silent. Besides, you guys aren't even eating. At the moment of lunch, or at the mention of lunch, Saya, Keisuke, and I look all around, spotting the fact that our lunchboxes are still neatly wrapped and untouched in front of us, while Jun and Shoichi are empty and pushed to the side. No way!
You guys wouldn't stop, so we just ate.
But you were the one who told them to go along with it when I brought up the subject of tennis.
Yeah. And little did I know it would turn into my own self-death sentence.
Sorry. It's fine. Just try to remember that we're here. It's not really fun to be left out of a conversation. Saya, Keisuke, and I quickly unpacking our lunches, beginning to eat as Shoichi and Jun steer the conversation to more mundane, easily discussed topics. The three of us seem to share an unspoken agreement to mostly keep our silence unless we have something relevant to add to the conversation, making sure not to overshadow the other two as we had before. What time is it? By the time our lunch break finally came to an end, we managed to slip back into a comfortable mood despite our previous setback, with our animated discussion into plans for a next potential group outing being interrupted by the sound of a bell. Ugh, damn it. We didn't manage to get anything set in stone.
Setting things in stone is a lot harder than you think. To begin with, stone isn't a liquid, so it can't set.
Were you always this much of a dweeb? It's fine, Shoichi-san. We can talk about it later. Not to mention the fact that phones exist. I know they do, but it's much easier to make plans in person.
There's no rush. We got through our competition. Our next midterms aren't until October. We have time. I mean, I do have a competition soonish, but that only lasts a day. And I still practice at home and at school almost every day, so it's fine. In fact, I'm planning to get some more practice in after class today.
Speaking of, you seem a lot more confident about it nowadays. I seem to recall a certain someone freaking out at the mere mention of his competition just a few short months ago.
Getting back to the groove of it helped a lot with my nerves.
It's a shame. I wouldn't mind comforting you backstage again like I did last time.
What? No way! Please forget that ever happened.
I don't know if I can. Besides, are you sure your hands won't feel cold again if I'm not there to—
Stop it! Stop it! Stop it! Stop it! Stop it!
What on earth happened backstage that day? Oh, I feel like we only ever got the abridged version. Based on Kobayashi's reaction, I can more or less imagine it.
No!
Oh, you made him so embarrassed. With the sound of Jun's whines and protests, the other three collect their things, still snickering under their breaths before making their way out and back to their respective classes, leaving behind a very flustered Tiger, hiding his face between his arms. Man, I didn't think that would work so well.
You are so unfair.
How am I unfair?
Saying something that's embarrassing out of nowhere in front of the other people. Not to mention saying it in front of our friends that don't know about. Ugh, you know.
Fair enough. Maybe I should chase after Keikun and Sai real quick and let them know that we're—
Don't you dare!
Oh, you're just so adorable! This is too easy. I almost feel bad doing it. What's that? Are you saying you don't want our friends to know? My, aren't you a very secretive tiger?
That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm just saying that. Not like this. Yeah, that's what I meant. It's not what we It's not that we can't tell them.
I'm glad he's so distracted with trying to explain himself that he doesn't bother to call me out on my bluff. I'm hiding inside the biggest glass horse here, and he doesn't realize he could easily disarm me if he bothered to throw even a small pebble. Lucky me. There. It's okay. We don't need to tell anyone since you're so against it.
No, stop messing with me.
Sorry, I can't. It's too fun.
Ugh.
June groans, cradling his head in an exceedingly adorable gesture of frustration. One that makes me want to keep going, to tease him more. I pat the cute, annoyed tiger on the back, doing my best to hold back the laughter that wants more than anything to come out. In my defense, this is your fault. I'm only human. If you give me a knife, of course I'm going to twist it. If it makes you feel any better, it's really funny to see you all flustered like this.
How is that supposed to make me feel better?
I did say if...
Go sit over there. Get away from me.
Aw, don't be like that. I get back to my seat, all the while chuckling softly while I watch the tiger sulk, his tail lashing behind him in the most adorable manner. Before I could think of anything else to say, however, our next teacher arrives, forcing me to abandon my plans to keep messing with June. Quite literally, saved by the bell. I collect my things, packing away my books, pencil, and others, and chugging on my water. Probably should have waited to start reading until I finished. A quick, cursory look through my notes reveals a whole lot of doodles and random scribbles, and not much in the way of actual, well, notes. It's a bit sad, really. Especially when I can go back to just a few pages and see all these beautiful, pristine notes from before my accident. All annotated, separated by topic, with bullet points for each and basic commentary to the side. It's a thing of beauty, really. And yet, despite trying my best, I can't seem to concentrate when it comes to class. As soon as it starts, my mind goes someplace else, drifting a million miles away. And not through the most pleasant of places either.
Are you going to be heading home now?
Huh? I mean, yes. Not much else for me to do here, is there? At least not anymore.
You look tense again, like you did this morning. Are you sure you're okay?
Didn't you say you wouldn't ask me that?
I said I wouldn't ask if you need help. I never made any promises about not checking up on you.
That is just semantics.
Maybe, but I'll take whatever foothold I can get. Victory by any cost.
That isn't a battle.
Everything is a battle if you treat it like one.
See you later, June. I drape my bag over my shoulders, grabbing my crutches and quickly attempting to get up and push past the tiger. Jin steps aside quite easily, though he looks at me with these searching eyes, scanning over my face as if he were expecting something. Is there something wrong?
Don't be like that. Don't get all stiff and wound up just because I made a joke.
I'm not wound up.
Yes, you are. You're not letting your emotions out and dealing with them in a healthy manner. So your body is holding all of this extra tension.
Are you shrink now?
No, but I have seen one regularly for over a year, and he said those exact words to me in some way or another at least a few times. Plus, I have eyes, and I'm not stupid. No matter whether you believe me on that or not.
I don't think you're stupid. Gullible and naive, sure, but not stupid.
Have you tried looking for something to distract yourself with? It usually helped when the bad thoughts would come to mind.
Who says I'm having bad thoughts? And wait, didn't you criticize me for not letting my emotions out? Now you're telling me to get a distraction instead of doing that?
If I told you to let it all out and tell me how you're really feeling, bad, ugly thoughts and all, would you do it?
No.
Didn't think so. In which case, distractions. At least until you're ready to face whatever it is that you're going on, or at least until you're ready to face whatever it is that's going on in your head.
Ugh. It's so creepy to get psychoanalyzed like this. Makes me feel like he's in my head now. And that's a terrifying thought. Reminds me of how when I was a little kid and I would think absurd, ridiculous things in an effort to sniff out any mind readers around me. Which is a very random thing to be remembering right now. I've been trying to distract myself for the past few days, but it hasn't been working all that well. As soon as I'm all alone, no matter how hard I try, I keep thinking about things I'd rather not think about.
So we don't let you be alone? Pretty easy solution.
What's that supposed to mean?
That I'm gonna keep you company? How did you not get that?
Didn't you say you had plans to practice today?
Right, because I never practiced or played the piano in general while you were around. It's unheard of.
Don't give me sass.
I still haven't forgotten you embarrassing me earlier today. I'll give you as much sass as I want and you're going to take all of it.
Wow, that's... Okay. I did not expect to hear that from June of all people. Talk about forceful. Is it bad that I kinda like it when he's feisty? So, what? You expect me to walk all the way to the music room?
You did make us go to the roof yesterday. All the while insisting you didn't need help. You'll live.
You could try to be more considerate.
If we're considerate, you get mad. If I'm not considerate, you complain that I'm not being considerate enough. There's no winning with you, is there?
Huh. I guess you have a point.
If it makes it easier on you, you can lean on me for the walk there.
Hell no! I'm not an invalid.
You're doing it again!
I couldn't not do it. The comedic timing was too perfect. June unlocks the door to the music room, sliding it open and flicking the lights on before making room for me to get inside. He immediately gets to pushing a few He immediately gets to pushing a few desks apart and making room for me to get around without hounding me, instead letting me have my independence, which is really nice of him. I do consider telling him that there's no need for the lights to be turned on and considering how brightly lit the room is in the first place, but eventually decide against it.
Here, I made some room so you can sit. First row.
Aren't I lucky?
You sure are. Getting a private show and everything.
Someone's got a big head.
Yeah, it's average.
I didn't mean it literally, you dork. I take the June offered me, gathering my crutches and putting them away on top of a nearby desk. June quickly checks to make sure I'm okay, taking my bag off my shoulders for me and then sitting his aside next to it.
What kind of song would you like to hear?
I get to choose?
I mean, it's practice for me all the same, so...
I don't know the names of any songs, though.
That's okay. Just tell me a mood or something. I have a lot of songs I've mostly memorized. Not to mention the stupid amount of sheet music I carry with me. I'm sure I can find something that fits your request. They're mostly classical, though.
How about something saved? Tough choice. I forgot what the word morose means, cause I'm an idiot. Sullen and ill-tempered. Oh, gloomy. Oh, or you know. I don't know, I kind of want something cheerful. I wonder if this determines if we get the CG of June. Tough choices, folks. I should put this up to a poll, but I don't think I could do that on YouTube. I can do it on Twitch. Yeah, honestly, it has been a hot minute since we've done a choice. I'm gonna go with something cheerful. What's the worst that could happen?
Oh, that's pretty easy, actually.
Oh, is it? I wouldn't know.
I do have one sonata that I was practicing a few days ago that fits pretty well. Or, well, it's more of a warm-up exercise, really.
Oh, if you proceed to play something super technical after calling it a warm-up exercise, I will dig something out of my bag to throw at you.
What? That's rude.
No one likes fake humility.
I've been playing for years. It's not my fault if something that is easy for me sounds difficult to you.
I'm hearing a whole lot of excuses and no piano. Play, monkey, play. Or should I say, play, tiger, play.
Keep that up and I'm gonna head home and take your crutches with me.
Wait, no. I'm just kidding. June fixes me with an overly cheerful smile, hiding behind it so much annoyance that he might as well be glaring at me. The sight of it is enough to send a shiver down my spine, letting me know that I'm probably nearing the limit of how much I can tease him for one day without suffering some serious comeuppance.
Good. Now stop being a brat and just listen to me play.
Yes, sir. Forceful June is scary, and also kind of fun to see. Dear God, what is it with me today? Jun pulls his bench, sitting down on it and adjusting himself a little. I watch him do a few stretches, pulling on his fingers, grabbing his elbows above his head, among other things. The sight of it makes me giggle under my breath, and I don't quite know why. The idea of a pianist doing warm-ups as if he were some kind of athlete is somehow funny to me. May June never catch me saying that. Yuichi, your bottom is showing. Where? Where? He places his hand on the keys. His shoulders rise and fall a few times, at which point I realize he's taking deep breaths. I guess he has to follow his routine before he starts playing, even if it's just for practice. Yes, his inner sub is peaking. Come to think of it, it's not all that different from me doing my pre-serve routine. As soon as he starts playing, the sweet sound of a high-pitched melody begins to fill the room. I quickly realize with complete regret that sitting behind June was a bad idea. Sex. We got punished for that. Sorry. I usually watch him play from the side, letting me see what he's doing. Oh, I see where this is going. From where I'm sitting, though, I can't really see his fingers all that well. I can only watch his back and hear the music. I lightly chew on the inside of my cheek to keep myself from voicing my displeasure at my mistake, not wanting to run the risk of breaking his concentration. On the plus side, the song is quite pretty, even if it sounds so sweet to the point of being almost saccharine. I don't recognize it, but the sweet, gentle melody echoes inside the room, filling it with the brightest, warmest colors there are. Or at least that's how it feels. I close my eyes, letting myself enjoy the tune in peace. I can feel the hints of a smile beginning to form across my lips. Before long, I start to sway back and forth to the rhythm of the music, letting it infect me and fill me up with its colors. This is nice. I wonder why it is. Jin's piano always seems to calm me. It's like something builds inside of me whenever I hear him play. Like the breaking of a dam, emotions well up that I don't even realize are there until they bubble to the surface and can no longer be ignored. In what feels like a split second, I choke out a quiet sob, feeling all the built-up tension crash against me and begin to fade away, leaving me limp. My shoulders shake under the weight of an emotional load that I'm far too beaten up to carry. All as I do my best to stifle the barrage of tears that is threatening to burst. I bring both hands to my face, covering my eyes and mouth to keep it all from coming out. I continue to hear Jun's piano echoing inside this room, safe in the knowledge that it's only the two of us here. The hand that covers my eyes begins to feel moist, but I do my best to keep from moving. It feels like if I move, if I even breathe, everything that is kept barely contained and simmering beneath the surface would come out all at once. I can't have that. I can't let that happen. Because I know if that Jun noticed what I'm doing right now, he would probably stop playing right away to check on me. And I couldn't bear the thought of that right now. That gentle melody of his, while it is unraveling and threatening to make me come undone, is also the only thing keeping me together right now. I want to hear all of it. So I continue to stifle my sobs, greedily taking in all of Jun's music, letting my ears twitch with every note, letting my body's shoulders quiver with every bar. And as the last few notes echoes out, the room is again taken over by cruel silence. For a few seconds, that is all that there is. And then, Jun breathes out. I've seen him do it before, It's him relaxing after finishing his piece. It lets me know that he's well and truly done. Which means it's time for me to pull myself together. I grab my shirt, quickly wiping my face with it to try as best as I can to hide the tears. When I open my eyes and I look forward, I see June standing in front of me, having gotten up from the piano and freezing on the spot as soon as he sees my face. That was really, really good. Thanks for playing for me, June. For a second, I worry that he's going to say something. I'm terrified that he's going to ask me if I'm okay. And I know that I wouldn't be able to bear it if he did. But instead, the tiger flashes me a gentle smile, walking slowly toward me until he's close enough to touch. He extends a single hand, placing it on top of my head, kindly petting me, ruffling my fur and rubbing behind my ears.
Of course. Thank you for letting me play for you.
The sudden, silent affection nearly breaks my heart, forcing me to look down to keep a second wave of tears from erupting. I instead take a few breaths, stifling more than once in an effort to recompose myself. God, I didn't know it was going to hit me so hard. I don't get it. It's like my emotions aren't my own anymore. I feel so raw, like I'm not myself anymore. I've been feeling like that for a few days, but I can't ignore it anymore. I hate it. I hate feeling this way. I'm so pathetic. Thanks. Jun's hand on top of my head is so warm. Just like the tiger himself. Talk about lame.
I have an idea.
An idea?
Uh-huh. Get up, please.
I cock my head to the side, staring at the tiger in confusion, silently waiting for an explanation of some sort. One, however, that he doesn't seem inclined to give. So as I do as I'm asked, grabbing my crutches and getting up from my seat. For a second, I'm afraid that my body is still too limp, that the moment I put some weight on my leg, my muscles will give out and see me falling to the floor. Thankfully, that doesn't happen. What exactly am I supposed to be doing here?
First of all, wiping your face.
What? Before I have time to protest, Jun pulls out a tissue from his pocket and begins to gently wipe my eyes and cheek with it, taking the time to fix my matted fur. Thanks.
Of course.
Once he's done with that, the tiger begins to grab my... Once he's done with that, the tiger grabs me by the hand, slowly leading me to the piano. I look at him even more confused than before, which makes him giggle.
Sit down on that side.
Huh?
Just do it.
I do as I'm told, sitting in front of the piano, looking up at Jun with uncertainty the entire time. The constant smile on his face tells me that he's enjoying seeing me in this kind of position too. Am I being hazed? What is going on? Jun takes a seat on the other side of the bench. For a second, I worry that there would be enough room for both of us. But even with Jun's bulkier physique, it can fit the two of us no problem.
This is a school. Of course they'd have a two-person bench. It's not unusual for teachers to sit with their students.
As if he'd read my mind, Jun launches into an explanation as soon as he sat down. Although we are sitting close enough that our shoulders touch. Close enough that I can feel the warmth radiating from Jun's body.
Now, when you look at the piano, what do you see?
Keys. Is this a trick question?
Oh, no, of course not. Here, why don't you put your finger here?
Jun grabs my hand, gently guiding it to rest atop a specific key on the piano.
Do you see the way the piano is laid out? How you have a black key in between every two white keys, say for two of them? And how that pattern repeats?
I guess?
That's because this is how the octaves are laid out. Do you know what the basic notes are in the musical scale?
Yes, I do. Pick me. Sure, we learned that stuff in kindergarten. It's the do-re-mi scale, right?
That's right. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, si. Or C, D, E, F, G, A, B.
I did not know that's what it was associated with. Really? Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, si. Oh. Wow, the more you know.
The basic musical scale has 7 natural notes. If you count them out starting here, you'll be able to count 7 white keys. Those are the 7 basic notes, as well as 5 black ones. There are black keys in between every pair of white keys, except for in between mi, fa, and si, do. These black keys are called sharps and flats.
Sharps and flats?
Uh-huh. If you're going up the scale, the notes will be sharps. In between C and D, you have C sharp. In between G and A, you have A sharp.
Wait a minute. If it's in between C and D, that's a C sharp. Wouldn't it be G sharp if it was between G and A? If we're going off of that pattern? Because it would just be the next one up? Or if it's because it's going from G to A. Okay, I'm confused.
Conversely, if you are going down...
Oh, there might be a mistake. Yep, that might be the issue.
Conversely, if you are going down the scale, they are called flats instead. So in between D and C, you have D flat. In between A and G, you have A flat.
Okay, that makes more sense. Because if you're going from D to C, that you're going to take the higher note and call that flat. If you go from A to G, you're taking the higher note of that and calling that flat. So it should be C sharp and G sharp in that, if I'm right. Basket, correct me. That's a lot of information.
I know. Just bear with me here. Now, the note that I put your finger on, that is middle C. Pretty cool, huh?
Sure. Cool. Yeah, let's go with that.
If you see a cluster of 3 white keys with 2 black keys inside of it, that's do, re, mi. The cluster of 4 white keys with 3 blacks inside of it are the remaining notes. That's how you can identify where C is.
What? I completely blanked over that. So you got the 3. So you got 3, 2, and then 4, 3. Okay. Oh, because you go like C, D, E, and then between E and F, you kind of don't really have an E flat, right? I might be wrong, but I don't have a piano in front of me. Also, piano means slowly in Italian. Or German, was it? Was it German? Might be German.
Anyway, that's how you can identify where C is. It's the first key in the cluster of 3.
But what does middle C mean?
It means you give him the middle finger. Just means that it's the C that is more or less central in the piano. The 4th C.
Oh, because it'll be C0, C1, C2, C3. I've seen this in GarageBand. Oh, I can pull that up. Let me look at GarageBand. GarageBand. I'm going to create a new song on the keyboard. Oh, I should probably turn on the camera. Do I even have a camera on? Hold on. Hold on, where am I? Is it display capture? No, it is video capture. Yeah, FaceTime HD. Hi! This is June! On my screen. You may be wondering how he got here. It's because I summoned him. That and this phone's very reflective. Also, my point was to show the keys on here, but this is me. I fooled you all. Ha ha ha. This is real Dirk speaking. I don't know, I'm going to kind of shrink him down. Who is this Dirk of which you speak of? Alright, so let's pull this up. Here we have a pianer. This is a pianer. And note here, C3 is here. I do not have the volume on. And then we got C, D, E, F. So E and F do not have a... E and F do not have a black key in between them. That's what I was like trying to figure out. And even though this one's far on the left side because I can only fit like 1.5 scales on my iPhone, it's like if I did the sliding mode, scroll, I can scroll left and go all the way down to 0. Oh, -2. Never mind. The lowest note ever. And then I can scroll all the way up to C7. That should be B7, the highest notes possible on here. But yeah, it's kind of fun and tricky. I've wanted to try it out, but I've been too self-intimidated by buying something and like investing in time for piano lessons. Because I'm like, do I have to buy the piano? Do I just go to like the store? Because all I have is like a garage band, like a guitar center near me. Yeah. Congrats, you saw my face, IRL. You don't get to see this on Twitch yet. Not unless you get a certain amount of subscriptions, or what was it? I think it's channel points. Yeah, I think it's channel points I do for that. Anyway, now that I had that set up, let's go back to our thing.
Anyway, just means that it's the C that is more or less central in the piano. The 4th C. It's the key that is used as reference to identify the rest of them.
Yes, I do give the best of tangents. Thanks.
But yeah, we'll use it as a reference to identify the rest of them. Most piano schools or teachers have their own piano.
Oh, wow. Thanks for the info basket. So I did get the G sharp thing correct. So it was meant to be G sharp. It was a typo. Thanks, basket. Sure. Yeah, having your own so you could practice daily is best. I would love to do that if I could afford it. But yeah, didn't have a piano for the first 6 months of doing lessons. Oh, wow. And you still managed to learn a whole Bach piece in 3 months. Wow. Sheesh. Man, You're giving me such inspiration. That's very nice. It's something I plan on doing once I have a full-time job. I'd probably try and like learn stuff. Just so I could have like the money for it, because right now I'm very tight on it.
Anyway, it's a little more complicated than that, but I'll keep it short and simple for now.
Okay.
Now, if I do this...
June puts his hand on top of 3 keys, leaving one empty white key between each finger, playing them in sequence and then together. I wonder what this is called. Hey, that sounds kind of nice.
It does. That's because this is a major chord. It's the chord of C major.
So that's C, E, G? Did I get it? Right now, I'm very tight. Hey! Do I need to turn on the camera for this again? Nice. Did not expect myself to turn the camera on, so that's why the lighting is terrible.
But yeah, that's because this is a major chord. It's the chord of C major.
C major?
Uh-huh. When you make a chord, you have a note that is more distinctive. We call that a tonic note. It's the main note in the chord and the one you hear above the others. The chord is named after that note. In the chord of C major, C is the note that you hear above the others, hence the name of C major. If you break it down into the base terms and concepts, the piano isn't that difficult to understand. I mean, sure, there are lots of really complicated pieces, but if you start from the basics, it's not difficult to learn how to navigate the face of the piano. At the very least, it doesn't take long to be able to tell at a glance which note is which.
That makes sense. Following that logic, then would these keys here be the other C's on the keyboard? I point to a few other white keys I can see, gaining on enthusiastic response from the tiger.
Correct.
That's kind of neat, I'll admit.
It is. I'm not going to try and teach you a bunch of complicated stuff. You don't need to worry about that. I just thought you might like knowing at least the basics, so you can understand what each key is and what function they serve.
You are right. I do like that. But I do have to ask, what brought the sudden lesson in music theory?
Well...
From the corner of my eye, I can see Jun lowering his gaze. However, I keep my eyes on the piano, having fun trying to figure out which key is which in the meantime.
I figured you could use a distraction. You've had a lot going on in the last few days. I thought that something simple and easy to understand would be easier for you to focus on. Let you concentrate on something other than... you know.
Ah, yeah. That makes sense. You were right about that.
I know. I can tell you've been getting increasingly stressed out and that you haven't been able to focus during class. I figure that anything too complicated or that uses too much energy is too much for you to focus on right now. I'm a sharp tiger, you know.
Yeah. I nod along to Jun's words. Thankfully, he was right on the money about it. The basic explanation was enough to invoke my curiosity. It is kind of fun to try and explore and figure out which key is which based on your explanation.
I'm glad. And Well, there was one other reason.
Huh? What's that?
Nico. No. Nico?
June reaches for my hand, grabbing and pulling it on it, breaking my concentration all at once. I turn my head to look at the tiger, confused by the sudden gesture along with the calling of my name. What? Ah! What's happening? As soon as I turn my head to ask why June is suddenly calling out my name, it happens. Oh my god! Oh, I had to show my reaction for that. Oh, that's too adorable. Gorgeous. I'm gonna go cry off camera for a bit. I kid. Ah, so lovely. So fast that, at first, I don't even understand what has transpired. My eyes go wide as it slowly dawns on me. When I turned around, June's face was surprisingly close to mine. And before I could react, he closed the distance all at once. I could feel the warm, damp feeling of his lips on mine. Ah, it's just beautiful. The shock is so great that my entire body goes stiff, unsure of how to react to the suddenness of it all. Suddenly, a warm sensation begins to come over me, along with a tightness in my chest. My still raw emotions begin acting up again as an indescribable sense of happiness fills me up. June is kissing me? June, of all people. He initiated it. And by surprise, I push back against the warm, soft tiger, leaning into the kiss, making sure that not to waste even 1 second of it. Jun's lips are soft and moist. The feeling of his breath in my face is comforting. It makes me wish the whole world would just stop. Another flood of tears threatens to take me over as my eyes begin to water once again. Crap. Twice in a single day? Jun's fingers interlock with mine, stroking the back of my hand as he clumsily attempts to press on with the kiss. I decide to return the gesture, gently nibbling on his upper lip, eliciting a soft moan from the tiger. Something brushes up against my tail, catching me by surprise for a second before I realize that Jun is trying to tangle his tail with mine. I can't. It's all too much. I completely lose sight of time, closing my eyes and just enjoying the feeling. Jun pulls away all of a sudden, making me think that our kiss was over. Except it's not. It barely affords me a chance to catch my breath before the tiger greedily kisses me again. And again. Inside this dusty, stuffy room, sitting in front of the piano, right where we first met, Jun and I make out under the sun's orange light. We fumble while pressed up against one another, our lips locked with one another, hungrily kissing each other over and over. It's awkward. It's clumsy. But above all else, it's wonderful. Finally, after what feels like an all too short eternity, June and I pull away from each other. I can still feel a pleasant tingle on my new moistened lips while the fur under my eyes is matted and damp from the tears. When I open my eyes and look at June, I see the tiger bashfully looking down at our interlocked hands and avoiding eye contact. However, despite our apparent embarrassment, it is also clear that we both have big smiles on our faces.
That,
was really nice. June's tail continues to wrap around me. He idly plays with my fingers, gently tugging on them and rubbing my hand within his grasp. And I, for one, feel no rush to pull away from him. You couldn't have told me you were going to do that.
sorry. I was trying to summon the courage to. Not that
I'm complaining. Far from it.
that was our first kiss.
And our second. And our third.
Shut up. I got carried away.
That's okay. I didn't want to pull away either, so. Seeing him, June, so close to me like this. Seeing his face looking so red. Seeing all the expressions he can make when he's embarrassed. All of it brings me an overwhelming sense of joy, along with the belief that, really, my boyfriend really is adorable. Hey, June.
Yeah.
Cupping June's face with my free hand, I immediately give the tiger a taste of his own medicine. So warm. A few hours later. After bed, am I right? For the rest of the day, I felt completely useless. Before I'd even realized it, I was back home. The time June and I finally let go of each other, the moment we said our goodbyes for the day, all of it was such a daze. I apparently came back home, crawled into bed, and stayed completely still for hours, reliving that moment over and over in my head. I miss June. However, what finally snaps me out of my daydreaming is my phone buzzing in my pocket. I don't even realize that it was still there. Now that I think about it, I hadn't gotten changed either, have I? What time even is it? Oh, June does not have an icon. Interesting. Nico, hey, is everything okay? Yeah, I just miss you. That's really cute, you know? Shh. Can't wait to see you tomorrow. Me too. Can I click other buttons? Can I? Aw, that would be so funny if I could. Hey Siri, send him to... Hey Google, show me this man's balls. I am really looking forward to tomorrow now. I'd almost forgotten what that felt like. Before we get to that, we save. What a fun reading it was today. 2:31:15. Sorry, just take a note for myself. Whew. He's just, yeah, so he's just using basic SMS. But I thought you could still, like, put in a phone contact photo for somebody when you still do that, like, in your settings. But yeah, June doesn't have a smartphone. Yeah, he uses a feature phone. Okay. Is that a flip phone, but different? Huh. I don't know. Anyway, hey guys. We've reached the current end of this June build. I hope you've enjoyed what you managed to play so far. I'm going to read this and make Basket feel so embarrassed by this. As you guys may or may not already know, all development in Tennis Ace is possible thanks to all my amazing patrons and other supporters who make it possible for me to dedicate the time to work on the game as well as commission the art for it. If you haven't already, and if you're able, maybe you could consider help to support us too. Just click here, link in description, and you'll be able to be taken right to my Patreon page. Once again, thank you all, and we'll see each other with the next demo. Huzzah! That is the end of update 56 and day 33. Day 33 of June's Route. Woo! That's exciting. I really enjoyed that. Very sweet. And we got tennis and Tennis Ace. Well, let's just ignore that, but I genuinely was very pleased with how things turned out with this update. Very nice. Things passed by pretty smoothly. I'd say it's a pretty smooth update. And good night, Ye801. Honestly, the best update. I could see it being one, John. Looking forward to 57, though. I get to hear more tennis and Tennis Ace. Yes, everybody's gushing. It's so sweet. Loved it. I love doing this update for y'all. It's nice. I hadn't done this in a while. I've been trying to keep myself kind of limited on what updates I do just because, or well, sorry, not what updates, but what stories I play, just because I don't know if I want to keep doing more VNs or if I'm moving on to a different avenue or just doing less in general. I'm just trying to figure out me. I also have to work on my own VN from time to time, and I got one scene done out of, like, how many are there? Major scenes, there's about 4 to 5, maybe 4.5. But yeah, I got one of them done. Even though it's more of just a kind of chill, like, oh, hey, we're meeting up for later or something. It's set up. It was emotional. I might get Tennis Ace just because of you. Aww, that's so sweet. Also, link in description for the itch.io page. You can go support them there. You can also support Basket and the whole Tennis Ace visual novel series on Twitter. Naira is also on the links here. Yep, Naira. What else is there? That's all I got for now. So, I should thank you all, and I will. Let's go to the thank tank. Yes, I made a special tank. So, this here is my thank tank, where I thank all my dorks, my fellow dorks, my exclusive dorks. I might even give thanks to my patrons, my Twitch subs. Maybe I'll do that separately, but since we only have one so far, I'll say it. Maybe if there's too many, I'll be like, yeah, maybe not. But let's start out with our fellow dorks. North Grizz, aka Lied Lowood, also has an amazing YouTube channel. Check out his stuff. He does some great narrations. And not as much commentary in between like I do. Makes it more clean. Anyway, North Grizz, Type A Roth, Magrim Wolfram, Andrew Buenaventura, Ryan Atkins, Spatan98, Akimaki, Dinkdark, Nai Wang, Dennis Arellano Gonzalez, Kuma, Moritaka, Anonymous, A.L. Bryant, and Ice Bear Paladin. Now I want to give a very, 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 very special thanks to my exclusive dorks. Kuya. And just a little thanks for my tier Twitch subs so far. In tier 1, we have Slow Panda 9D1000 or 90000. So yeah, if you want to be in either of those for the patron stuff, if you want to be a fellow or exclusive dork, check out my Patreon. Link in description below. Helps out with my visual novel and to commission artists to make not only that look better, but also my channel. I can commission art for this, and like my icon, let me take that back up. Here, this was commissioned thanks to your help. My face here on a moving PNG tuber. But yeah, and then in terms of Twitch subs, you can also, support me there. It's more of just a general support for me as I play games and stuff, and if people want to see what I do there, you can check out my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/DirkTheRedPanda. So that is everything for today. Let's get back to the main screen here, the main end game. I'm so happy that I got to see everybody here, and yes, such a good episode, really was. I just read it. It was a greatly made episode thanks to Worst of the Bunch, also known as Basket, who, I really appreciate y'all not invading him with too many questions, because that can be very intimidating as a creator when you just kind of want to lurk and chill and watch your content be made. I know how that feels when I saw people do Ocean Avenue. But yes, this was really fun, and I will look forward to the next time I play this. So yes, as always, thank you all so much for watching, and until next time, take care, folks.